Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review a Expendables movie and talk about the Expendables film franchise. Weird thing is, for a while, I used to watch I used to go to the movie theaters a lot, especially, before the Army, but a lot during the Army, not basic, but from AIT onward, you know. And then also in the '90s they had the Dollar Theater. And then they had Tinseltown, and there are other movie theaters, but a lot of those went out of business. And the drive-ins, I haven't been to drive-ins since late '90s. Still one open. And then eventually, there was a time I stopped going to the movies. And it stopped becoming more and more frequent after like 2005, 2006. I think the last one I saw was that Deception for a long time until I started hanging out with John. And then we used to go to the movies theater all the time in 2016, but it was a big gap. I miss a lot of movies. Because we changed. Because we used to have keep up with movies with cable, and then they got rid of the cable, and then we had to get like digital cable, and that kind of changed the whole thing. And then we went up. It got too expensive, and we went just a regular basic cable. And then years later, when they finally updated our cable, they said our cable was never updated. We could have had HBO for free along with our regular subscription. A regular pay service of base cable that would have included free HBO. And then, of course, a year or so later, that went away too. But there was a time when I didn't see a bunch of movies, and a bunch of movies kind of slipped by, including the Expendables. It was really a great idea. Sylvester Stallone, it's like most of the action stars of the 80s and 90s in a movie together, whether it be a good guy, roles or bad guy roles in these super violent action films. And they had different things in there. And it was weird because the first Expendables one I saw was the third one because it was available on Netflix. I got it in 2014. I don't think the other two were available. The third one was available. And the biggest thing there, people griping about it being PG-13 when the other ones are R-rated. I remember seeing it. I thought it was alright. But after seeing, because I just found out a couple days back that Expendables 1 and 2 were available on Amazon Prime. So I watched those two. I think the third is the weakest in the series, but it's still pretty good. But I give the third one probably 8 out of 10. The other two, the very first one I saw, man, it was so much violence, and the violence was very extreme and very bloody. And you see, there's no nudity, to my knowledge, and no real cursing in it, because sometimes with a rating system, you can give a hard R for like a certain subject matter. Now, if you don't have cursing or a lot of sexuality, you can get away with more violence to get that R rating. I think that's what they did. And it was great. And it was so cool seeing all these people together, like Arnold. Oh, and also for the third one, I remember when Kevin Smith started talking about it, and then he had his book out. He said what a pain in the ass Bruce Willis was to work for. And I never knew that until he started talking about it. And Bruce Willis was in the first two Expendables movies, and then he told, Sylvester Stallone said that he doesn't ever want to deal with Bruce Willis again in any movie or anything like that. I guess he was a real pain in the ass. That's what Kevin Smith was saying. Now, when Kevin Smith worked alongside him as an actor on the fourth Die Hard movie, he said he was great, but when he went to direct him in Cop Out, which was an awful movie, he said he was a pain in the ass. But he's in the first one and the second one. Now, the first one, the biggest problem, I don't think they had. Well, they had a ton of wall-to-wall action. I think the story's a little bit muddled, but the character development was there somewhat. But I loved it. They had some over-the-top violence in it, which I really enjoyed. It was, I thought it was fantastic. Most people say, why haven't seen it? Expendables, yes. I said, wait, really, you haven't? I said, no, I haven't. But I give it a 10 out of 10. Now, the second one starts off with crazy action, like the first one, and then it slows down somewhat to tell the story. It has a little more character development and stuff like that. And then the action starts to eventually pick up, and it has a little more, and then pick up. And Chuck Norris was in this one, which was awesome. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme was playing the bad guy in this one, which was cool. It was so cool seeing Chuck Norris in there. He said his code name was Lone Wolf McQuaid. And then they have it's all like tongue-in-cheek because it knows it's self-aware of what it is, which is fine. And then they had exchanges in the second one. They're doing their lines, and Arnold said, I'll be back. And then Bruce Willis says, yeah, you've been back plenty of times. I'll be back. And he went to get something. And then Arnold said, yippee-ki-yay. I really liked it. And in the part where Sylvester Stallone was shooting these guys and he goes rest in pieces, which I thought was awesome. I give the second one a 10 out of 10 too. I mean, it's a lot of fun. The third one's still really good, but it's not as good as the other ones. And then, he told the other guys to get lost, and he got a whole bunch of new, younger kids in there, somewhat. I mean, it kind of, destroyed the whole meaning of the movie, the third one. And then there hasn't been one since. I thought the third one was more of a recent release, like 2016, but it was 2014. First Expendables was 2010, second was 2012, and then the other one 2014, 2 years apart each one. But I loved it. I thought there was a lot of fun and great action, over-the-top violent action, fantastic. But it seemed like they wanted to water it down, try to get a bigger. They had to try to make more money from the franchise or something like that. I think the third one didn't make as much as the other two, but worldwide they did pretty good. But I loved it. So I love the Expendables series. I doubt there'll be a fourth one. But, I mean, it was really cool. I'm so glad I got to see the first two. So I hope you like this video. When I saw the fourth one a couple years back on Netflix. So I hope you like this video. Till next time, please take care, my legion.